Hello, this is Philip Hylen with my final project report for GEOS 5300. For this project and final report, I chose to feature the Hoary Bat, Lasiurus cinereus, as my species of interest. This particular bat is insectivorous and is a tree-dwelling species of Microchiroptera, native range of Guatemala in the south to the southern parts of Canada in the north. This species is a very resilient bat to climatic variables. It is a larger body size, thicker fur, which allow the bat to be more energy efficient against evaporative heat transfer, as well as just temperatures in general. It has a temperature range of 0 to 22 degrees Celsius for foraging, which allows it a greater range of energy efficiency than most other bat species in America. Because of this, this species acts, as you will, as a reverse canary in a coal mine, hopefully allowing this study to serve as a baseline for other bat species that may not be quite as resilient against temperature and precipitation as a factor. My hypothesis for this study was that by doing a species distribution model, something new for this particular species, we would be able to find that temperature and precipitation do have a strong correlation. So for my model, I ran maxent models. The maxent models were done 5 times for different conditions. One was the future suitable habitat percentage. And then the other models ran were RCP 2.6 and RCP 8.5 data for 2050 and 2070. So we did 5 separate models that all had the same test metrics. The test data AUC was 0.877, showing that it was a strong correlation to the variables put into the model, which were the original 19 climatic variables from world climb. There was the same for the future prediction models. Everything was at 2.5 arc minutes resolution. For the future models, you can see that there was definitely a lot of change over time from the current to 2050, using the best case scenario of climate change into 2050. We do see about a 26% contraction of habitat, but a very large gain of habitat in the northern latitudes around Canada. This was due mostly to temperature. Temperature did indeed increase the availability of prey in the northern hemisphere. However, we would find that there's a lot of current habitat that is being lost, especially in the southern range, maybe due to rising temperatures making conditions too much for the bat to survive or for food availability. However, if you look at the 8.5 predictions, the worst case scenario, 2050 actually becomes more than a 26% habitat loss contraction. And then moving into 2070, you actually see 42% habitat loss. There is still some expansion of habitat into the northern latitudes and some pockets in the southern reaches. However, comparatively to the RCP 2.6 data, much less so. All in all, I think the results did support my hypothesis very well for temperature, but not so much for precipitation as being a strong factor for habitat suitability. I think in reality, precipitation may have played a larger role. There's a lot of studies that show that temperature and relative humidity have a direct effect on prey availability, as well as for a bat to effectively echolocate and use relative humidity. A higher relative humidity would actually slow down energy waves traveling through echolocation, affecting the bat's ability to successfully hunt. So there is some thought that maybe the precipitation here is a lower factor than in truth. Another thing that I'd like to see done in the future, this is a great baseline study. to compare against less resilient species of bats, such as the red bats or other tree-dwelling bats within the same range. But I would also like to see, and I would personally love to do this, is to find a way to make a categorical data set for forest structure to add into these models as well, and run, since there's a lot of evidence that shows that forest structure is a huge influence on habitat suitability for these bats. Everything from where they roost to how they interact with the environment around them is going to greatly depend on how dense of a forest area they have, what kind of prey can be there, host plants. There might be sunlight as a factor in that point. So there's a lot of things I like to see done with a forest structure in future studies. In the meantime, I hope this serves as a great baseline study for other bats, and be maybe a community study for people to build upon as well. I appreciate your time, and I really thank you for all the lessons learned in this class. Thank you very much.